Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You're walking with Mr. Clay. We are in Isaiah chapter 61. Yes, Isaiah chapter 61. And we thank God for those of you who have been with us since the beginning and those of you who have been with us here and there's about. And we thank the Most High for those of you who have just subscribed, as well as those of you who are about to subscribe, calling those things that are not as though they are. Yes, we're walking through Isaiah chapter 61. Yes, don't last we look at the fact that the Most High is culminating things and to change when there was a time period when the change was from Assyria to Babylon. There had to be a campaign won. It just doesn't happen overnight. Now the same thing happens when they got from Babylon to Persia. It took a campaign, it took war, it took people losing their lives prematurely, not even living out their life expectancy. And that's really what it's about, your expectancy. We all are death doomed as soon as we're born. But to live until your life expectancy is what we really want to do. And if we can do it beyond, we want to do that also. Yes, we do. Live and let live. Yes. Now, what we're going through now is really residual of the Roman Empire. The legs. It's residual of that. Now we are getting into the feet. They call it unilateral, or should I say multi. It's going to be people being sovereign within themselves, but yet you'll have a few that are what we call superpowers. They're not going to just try to rule the world, because the fact is Russia don't want any other land. Russia don't even want China. China don't want Russia. And only people that want other countries to serve them are on their way out. And this was the way of the Russians. I mean, the way of the Greco-Roman Empire. And all you're seeing is a continuation of the Greco-Roman Empire in modern form. And that the Romans want to be the head. No matter what happened, the leaders of the Roman Empire wanted to be the head. They wanted to rule. We understand that Babylon was one that made himself out of a god. And then you had Assyria was one that approached God and exalted his gods against the others. Now, then you had Persia. Persia was one that wanted to promote their agenda, their way of worship, their way of living towards the other. And this is where you had in the book of Ruth, or should I say the book of Ruth, the book of Naomi, or should I say, you might as well say Naomi, but either way, and Esther, the book of Esther, Ezra, Nehemiah, these had to endure war, a change. And this is what Isaiah is about, the change that is to come after the Persian Empire's fall. Because we get into the 400 years of which the Christians call darkness or silent years, which is false. But you get into the Maccabees and you get into all these other ones, and it talks about what we're trying to get to. But it seemed like since they cast it out, they wanted to add and twist the things in the books of the prophets, the early prophets. Isaiah chapter 61, it says, "The Spirit of the I Am is upon me." Upon who? because the I Am has anointed me to preach or proclaim good tidings unto the meek. Yes, he had sent me to bind up the brokenhearted. In other words, war can break the heart and break the spirit of many. To proclaim liberty to the captives. Who are captives? In the time of, they say that this Isis lived, people were not really captives. They were just in prison for political reasons. But now you have captives during the Persian, going backwards, Babylonian and Syria empires. And the opening of the prison to them that are bound. Yes, some of them were cast into prison during these campaigns of these three, should I say, regimes. To proclaim the acceptable year of the I Am and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all that mourn. Yes. Now we know that all that mourn over their ancestors and all that, and you can clearly see that when the seed of Cyrus allowed Israel to return to Jerusalem, or the children of Judah. Now, he says, to appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give them beauty for ashes and oil for the joy of mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness. In other words, strong in righteousness. That's what that is saying. The plant, you have to realize these people that are talking understand the farmer's terminology of things, because really this is what all the world should be. No one man should have to do all the farming. Now that the population have grown, yes, you do have to have central farms. But basically people were doing their own farming. He says here, might be called the trees of righteousness, and planting of the I Am, that he might be glorified. Now here's another key. That they shall build the old waste, that they shall raise up the former desolations, and they repair the waste cities and desolations of many generations. That this happened in the book of Ezra and Nehemiah, where they were building the old waste places. Yes, they were doing this, and the desolations that have happened because of the campaigns of the Syrian, Babylonian, and Persian empires. Many were destroyed. Many cities were destroyed in Judah and Israel. But Israel was taken captive and delivered unto the cities of the Medes, taken for servants and wives and everything else. He said, and strangers shall stand and feed your flocks, and the son of aliens shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers. Aliens. When you say illegal aliens, they were aliens. In other words, you did not know them. They were not known to you. But these people are going to come, and the Most High give them a heart to work for you, is what he's saying. And this did happen. We have to call a buck a buck. But ye shall be named the priest of the I Am. Men shall call you ministers of our God. Why? Because of the sacrifices, the praise, the adoration of the feast days, the keeping of the Sabbaths. Yes, these things will make you priests. And the other ones, because they want to dwell in the peace that Israel has experienced after the Persian reign, they come. Or at the end and after the Persian reign. For a while they enjoyed peace after the Persian release of the children of Judah and stragglers of Israel. He says now, and he says, and you shall call you ministers or servants. Minister means servant. Regardless of whether you walk into a church or a mosque, anybody say minister, that doesn't give you any high, should I say, status. Minister means servant. A minister, a servant of who? You might be a servant of Ethiopia, a servant of Russia, a servant of the U.S. Minister, you are a servant. In other words, you serve their agenda to whatever they sent you to do. or they're about you to serve of our God. You serve our God, ministers. Ye shall eat the riches of the Gentiles, and their glory shall ye boast thereof. Even King Xerxes had sent them with food and clothing and raiment. He even wanted to send them with his armies to protect them from the people that hated them for no reason at all. This is what happened. For your shame shall have doubled, and for your confusion ye shall rejoice in their portion. Yes, this is what God did during that time. Therefore in their land they shall possess the double. Everlasting joy shall be unto them. For I that I am, love judgment. I hate robbery for burnt offerings. In other words, stealing cattle to sacrifice unto the Most High. And I will direct their work in youth, and I will in truth, and I will make an everlasting covenant with them. The same covenant as he's talking about in the reading of the covenant that Moses was handed to Moses. They all stood before the temple and wept. If you go back through the books of Esther, Nehemiah, and Ezra, they wept. The Most High had to take them through so much to the point where they started trying to keep what they can keep, that they understood of the law, statutes, commandments, and ordinances of the Most High. The same as we are today. We have to really understand that. We're missing a lot of things, including the straight book of the law. There's a book of the law. This is an historical account. This is the 66 books or the 88 books are just an historical account. They're not the actual books. They're not even a copy of the book of the law. No, only what was said during the historical account. And then we have to take that with a grain of salt, because the heathen had been in that too. In that, one example is that badger skin. Badger is an unclean beast. Why would God put badger skin on top of the temple, the portable temple? Ask yourself that question and then read it again. Honey badgers, some refer to. Do you know how dangerous honey badgers are? They're very dangerous creatures, and they're very scattered. And then they say Noah had gopher wood. That was not gopher wood. That's just too far-fetched. We're dealing with translators and those who seek control is what we're doing. He says now, and their seed shall be known among the Gentiles. And that is true. This is what happened. And their offspring among the people, and all that see them shall acknowledge them, and they are the seed which the I Am hath blessed. Now, many of the ones that were taken in these campaigns of these three regimes, Assyria, Babylon, and Persia, many of them had died, and now you have those that have grown up that were their children, because you're talking about a whole span of years. Yes, many have died, and some have taught their children, and then those children that were taught instructed others in the ways of the Most High, and they began to keep those things as is described by the Persians in the book of Esther. Now, he says, now, for he hath clothed me with the garments of salvation. He hath covered me with the robe of righteousness. As a bridegroom decketh himself with ornaments, as a bride adorneth herself with jewels. In other words, this one he's talking about has compared himself to a bridegroom and a bride, not just a bridegroom. See, they stole the things and told you he was the bridegroom, huh? No. The Isis, Yahushua, Yahusha, not the bridegroom. God is the husband, if you want to put it that way. God is the creator, the I Am. Sanini Nanini. Yes, Yahweh, Yahuwah. Tata Nzambi. Yes, all. The I Am, Allah. Which only means God, really. You have some hateful Christians that will come and try to distort that. No, it only means God, because they speak, this is the language, they speak Horsh Arabic. When they say Allah, not everybody means the Allah that are following the doctrine of Muhammad. Some are Christians, and some are just Bible believing, or should I say covenant believing people. Now, he says, now I will greatly rejoice in the I am. My soul shall be joyful in my God, for he hath clothed me with the garment of salvation. He hath covered me with the robe of righteousness. As a bridegroom decketh himself with ornaments, and as a bride adorn herself with jewels. In other words, the Most High has just blessed me, and it shows. Is all he's saying. As the earth bringeth forth her bud, and as the garden causes the things that are sown in it spring forth, so the I am will cause righteousness and praise to spring forth before all the nations. Who is he? He is the children of Jacob. And this has happened. I mean, they kept the Passover, they kept the feast days, they kept the Sabbaths, they kept the continual sacrifices, the sacrifice of Thanksgiving, which your Esau, it's never recorded that your Esau or your Yahweh or Yahusha did not keep. Just giving the things, not that he did not sin, it's the fact that where was his sacrifice? Oh, and some of you, oh, he is the sacrifice. No. The fact is, it's dead. That whole thing is dead, because he hadn't been sacrificed yet. He should have kept the same things all the other Israelites have kept during that time. Make it make sense. And because if we keep those things, the law is what he's talking about. The Israelites keeping the law. This is going to make you bright. It's going to make you people. It's just the spirit of the law, which comes from the I am, which is already in your heart, but you just got knocked upside the head and you forgot the law. And the fact is that now they know the law and they will walk therein during that time. And if we keep those things that they kept, we will have peace.